we had some comments on a recent YouTube video. Did you clip that, or should I pull it up on this end?
I can send it to you. I know it was on Record Thyself. I'll send it over on Element.
Okay. We had some good, cool comments on our YouTube videos on and off recently, and I figured this would be a good time to respond to a couple of those. This one was on the parenting advice video when I was talking about recording thyself. And it was a very valid question that literally every parent experiences. We have it here. It's from Magnus in the comments. What's up, Magnus? Hope you're doing well. He says, I am having big trouble handling tantrums. My 4-year-old is becoming somewhat of a princess. How do you stay peaceful when the kid is completely off the rails and screaming at 130 dB? And then somebody in the comments says, watch Super Nanny. That woman has awesome tricks when it comes to kids if spanking is not your thing. She's also got some authoritarian tricks and expectations that I don't agree with, but she does have some good tricks. Some of it's worth learning from. So we did, there's a whole video, couple videos on Peaceful Parenting University that addresses this sort of exact point. And I even it's such a common thing that it was one of the 3 or 4 points that I addressed in my talk on the main stage at Acapulco this past year when I did my sort of big announcement for Peaceful Parenting University. And it's how to break your kids' brains out of this emotional loop that they get stuck in. Jason, your family had an in-house daycare for years, right? And I'm very sure that you saw kids just like melting down and losing it entirely, right?
Yeah, absolutely losing it. And the way that the parents would react whenever they were picking up their kid was like get in the car, we got to go, even if the kid's in the middle of, playing with blocks and having a great time. We need to go right now because you are on my time schedule. But if we convince them to slow it down just by a little bit and deal with the sadness or the upset, and then I didn't even realize it whenever it was happening, but the stuff that you do, Patrick, where it's like you make a deal with your kids of like, okay, that's fine, go ahead and finish playing blocks, and how about we agree that we leave in 5 minutes, so when the big hand, we had an analog clock, when the big hand points at this, then we'll go. And that usually fixed it like 90% of the time. But what do you got for the remaining 10% of time at 130 dB, which is like beyond where your eardrums pop?
Yeah, it's it's something that literally every parent experiences because literally every kid has this happen to them, and it happens to all children because it's a physiological limitation of an underdeveloped child human brain. Like the part of the brain, the frontal lobe, the thing that is sort of able to override and step in and take control of the base instincts and the base emotions, does not really exist in any developed state until much older. I mean, hell, like, what is it, men? Their frontal lobes aren't even done developing until 25. It's earlier for women, I think, but for men, it's like 25 years old, right?
Yeah, I'm finally past that hill, man. My brain is finally all here, and man, it's good to be alive.
Congratulations, you have your brain now. But
before that, I don't know if I was even sentient.
But the point is, obviously, you have the ability to self-regulate before 25 years old. That's not my point. My point is that that capacity develops much later than I think most people think it does. And so a lot of parents will hold their kids responsible for their lack of ability to interrupt that emotional state much younger than they actually even can do that. So the first thing you got to do is realize that they just don't have the ability to do that. It's not in their mental toolbox. And so that in and of itself, just recognizing that, disarms a lot of your anger, because it's like a person saying they can't do some simple physical task that you need them to do, and that might make you angry until you find out that they have a disability that prevents them from being able to, and they're like, oh, okay, well, I'm not really mad anymore because they just physically can't do that thing. Same thing for a kid. Like when you realize that, look, they just don't have the ability to do that, it kind of lets the pressure off. Now you can understand. Hopefully you can empathize with them more. So that's step one. Step two is just learning that there are tricks that you can do to sort of let your brain be that part of the brain that they don't have yet, to break them out of that loop. And part of that is you get down on their level. You sort of become a pressure valve. Like you sort of erase yourself from the conversation for that point in time. Briefly just sort of go into 100% empathy mode. Reflect back to them what they're feeling, like give names to the emotions that you see controlling them or taking them over right now. Usually it's frustration or sadness or anger or something like that. When they get caught in these emotional short circuit loops, you just say, oh man, it looks like you're feeling so mad right now, or oh man, you just look so frustrated or so sad right now. And then, like, come here. Would you like a hug? Like, tell me what's wrong. Talk to me about it. What's bothering you? What's frustrating you? Why are you angry? What happened? Tell me. And then when they tell you and they start opening up, this is not the time for reprisals, for teaching them lessons, for judging, or for any of that stuff. It's just simply take it in. Oh, yeah, they took your toy? Man, I'd be mad too. And you just sort of connect with them first and let that be the pressure valve that breaks their emotional loop out of that feedback cycle. So like just let them vent their emotions into you, give them a hug, be 100% on their side for a little while. Then in like 5 minutes, it doesn't take long to get them broke out of this. After you can tell their emotions have chilled, then you can take deep breaths with them. Then you can be like, well, what can we do next time to maybe prevent that from happening? Or how should it have happened? Or maybe it's time we can figure out how to make a deal. Or, if it's a conflict between them and someone else, offer to sort of be their mediator and go and help them negotiate a deal to resolve whatever problem it was. But the point is, step one is realizing that they're not somehow culpable and they don't have the physiological capacity. We're talking like under probably 12 years old, maybe 10, maybe 8, definitely, 7 years old and under. They just don't have the capacity, the brain capacity yet to do it. Step one. Step two is sort of erase yourself for the moment, make it really turn on your empathy machine, connect with them, let them just dump their emotions on you.